Hey, Coach. I'm so glad you found us on YouTube. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment down below. Make sure you subscribe. Hopefully this video will help in your basketball journey. If you're looking for a little bit more detail, check out teachhoops.com down either in the show notes or up above. It is a social community of resources, of other coaches, of me, one-on-one coaching. Just go check it out. 14-day free trial. It's a great gig. I think you'll love it. And let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.
All right, everybody. Welcome. I'm going to get it right because last week I said welcome to Coach Unplug. I'm not going to do that. Welcome to High School Hoops, episode 34. All right, what are we going to do this week, Coach?
We are going to be talking about making improvements to our team and program culture in the offseason, kind of the plan of attack. How do we approach that? What is maybe too much? What's too little? Maybe just a kind of conversation out there, just kind of making improvements.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have a plan going into summer. It's April at this point, and I usually take off 2-3 weeks to kind of desensitize, and then I've already met with my coaches a couple times about some tweaks we want to make, but then we start looking at we've just started to look at our calendar, look at how we want June and July to be, when you talk about improvements in culture, I think you're talking about improvements in the way you run things, which is
right. And I think that's really should be the focus, because I have some really good questions that people can ask about that.
Right.
And, if you want to keep going, then I'll add those questions in a second.
Yep. So I think I mean we can talk about improvements for players, and I think that maybe is a different episode. But I'm talking about, I think there's improvements within your program, how your manual looks like,
right.
And
how you do things.
Yep. And then the second thing is culture. That goes into that manual. I think
right.
that goes into, and one of the things, I'll tell you, one of the things that we've decided we want to do, and I think we have a pretty good culture and pretty high expectations in our program, and kids kind of know what's expected, what's not. We're going to try to do some more non-basketball related things this summer than we have in the past. Just because I have a lot of different personalities that I kind of got to pull together. So that's definitely on our list culturally, that I think we need to, to bring these groups together and mesh them together. Similar to what we talked about last week, where, you look at those teams in the finals, they were well-oiled machines. You can have all the pieces, but if the pieces don't mesh together, it's going to be pound, pound, pound. But go ahead, ask what you were talking about.
I have a couple big questions, and you can add to these.
Okay.
Number one is, how are things taken care? Are things getting taken care of right away, or are they dragging on till now? So, were there reoccurring issues throughout the season that were just, sometimes things are getting in the way. Are things getting taken care of by administration? Are there things that are constantly being dragged on, and those things got to be approached at right now, so you don't have those same problems next season?
And what do you mean by problems or things are dragging on? Because I don't let things drag on.
So I whether it's how organization of how practices are scheduled, or how parents are treating coaches in your community, all those different things that people may not, those are things now you've kind of bit your tongue a little bit for a while. They just need to be taken care of now.
Yeah.
Things that should have been taken care of.
Close the chapter of the book, basically.
Yeah, but that chapter should have been closed a lot sooner, but it never did. And I think a lot of times coaches, especially coaches that are just starting in a program, don't shut those door on things right away. After a while, you've been in the same place for a long period of time. I think a lot of your doors have been shut, and this is our way.
The doors aren't opening.
No, we have one hallway, and it's the Memorial Way hallway, and we're good to go.
Yes.
Another big question is, are players buying into what you're doing? So I think that's a big question to ask yourself. I mean, are your players buying into everything that you're asking of them? Did they do that this season, or are there adjustments that you need to make?
Yeah, and I think, and I'll probably say this 12 times, I think the buy-in you get after you lose right away and the buy-in you get 5 weeks later is a little bit different.
Right.
I actually taped my speech this year that I gave to the underclassmen after we lost when we came to collect uniforms the next day.
Yep.
I'm gonna literally I'm gonna send it out probably the beginning of May, and just say, hey, remember this discussion? here's what we expected. Here's where we ended. What can we do different? Where do you want to be? What prices are you going to pay? So, because I think they heard me at the time 100%. I've sat in that thing and given that speech many a year. You know, the only times I didn't was the 3 times we won it. And they all usually buy in right there. But the problem is spring comes, it's getting nice out. It's like, well, our bar was set here. So I think you're right. I think the buy-in is a big one. The buy-in, and that goes back to what I was saying before. I think that's a cultural thing. Like how,
right.
You know, because that's the biggest thing is peer pressure. Like, hey, we got to go work out. We got to go lift. We got to go get some shots up, that kind of stuff.
I think then you look back at your handbook and your manual and your things, and what are you doing? Does it truly match your vision?
Right.
Are you truly doing it? And what you say, are they actually happening? Right. Or do you need to make adjustments to fit something that you really want to see differently? Or you need to go back to the drawing board and continue to build on that? Because if you're not completely confident of the things you've written down, then you need to make some adjustments to that. I think often people make a manual and then they don't go back and look at it. You know, they should be constantly reevaluating.
It should be a living document.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, when associations and stuff every year, they look at their bylaws and so forth and what we're doing. Do we need to make adjustments to this? Is this really what we believe, you know? Or do you think there's a better way of doing it? Because the game is constantly evolving. Kids are constantly evolving. So your culture has to continually evolve as well.
Right.
I think it's really important as well.
I agree. What else? Was there any other questions on that?
No, that was a lot. Because the other question I had was just about what are the reoccurring issues and how can we improve? That basically goes back to looking at your vision. It doesn't match that.
So I think it's really about reflection.
Yep.
It really is. So, you know, it's hard to do it. And so I know it's easier to do it maybe the week or two after. I think you need separation between the end of the season and the actual true reflection and before the summer, you know, expectations occur. You know, what in our program or manual or way we do things worked, what didn't work. Maybe this worked, but we could tweak it a little bit. Because I'm telling you, I've done this long enough. I don't do things exactly I did 30 years ago. Trust me. Because the landscape has changed. you know, what can I get done in July versus what can I get done in June? You know, those
and
shifted.
I think also too, like for me, like I used to be a varsity coach and now I'm an assistant. I'm constantly adding, I'm keeping a constant notebook of when I'm constantly getting this time to reflect on what I'm doing as an assistant or what I'm doing interviewing other people. Like, man, I really want you start to forget things, but you always want to keep on building on that because a lot of our coaches right now that listen to our podcast are freshman coaches or JV coaches.
Right. And
they get that job and they don't really have an identity of what they want. They know they want to be a head coach.
Right.
But what is that going to be? What are I talked about last week, the 3 things being good at 3 good things. Like, what are your 3 things that you really value that would build your program? Would it be transition defense? Would it be using the ball screen? Would it be multiple defensive schemes? Like, what is going to be your bread and butter and what you're going to be really good at? Like, you should be constantly reflecting on that no matter what position you are as a coach.
Right. And the thing is, and we've all been there, the first thing is I wanted to be a coach. Then I wanted to be a freshman coach. Then I wanted to be a J. Then I wanted to be the head coach.
Yep.
Then I wanted to have a winning season. Then I wanted to go to the state tournament. Then I wanted to win the state. I mean, we all have thresholds. I get that. And part of the reason a lot of people are listening that's part of the reason you're competitive and you want to win and you want to coach. You get that. But you don't get to that level from someone that's done it unless you take care of the stuff on the bottom, because the distractions, I mean, I've had teams that maybe should have won it that didn't because we had other things going on, within the window, and we didn't take care of it, or it didn't clean itself up, or the kids didn't take care of it, or, we weren't effective running that, whatever it was, there was something there. So that's why you always got to look back and reflect, and you got to figure out, here are the kind of kids I have coming back. Here's our strengths. Here's our weaknesses. What can we do? How can I help them? It's no different than being a classroom teacher. You have to monitor and adjust, and if you don't, you're going to be a dinosaur and you're going to be extinct.
Bye. Somebody else will take your job. Yeah. You'll lose it.
You'll lose it. That's the issue.
It's the reality of it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that we're talking about like high school coaches losing their jobs, but it's true. I mean, it's the same kind of pressure. I mean, if you
Absolutely
enough, eventually they're going to come up with a reason to get rid of you. It won't be for the same reason they get rid of, a Division I coach in, the East Coast, but they will. They'll find a way. Is what
you'll just find you'll just get pushed out after a while. You'll feel that burden on you, and it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
So you got
So spend the time when we're telling you, spend the time now. Reflect back on it. Find people that you can bounce the ideas off of. Look for people that have been successful doing it. Find somebody in your community that's like, has no hidden agenda, and find that old ex-coach.
Yep.
That lives.
I think often people try to build their own success when really they should connect themselves with other people that have been successful and be part of that for a while.
Right. Look at the books. Half the books behind you are not basketball books. If you're watching this,
correct.
They're football books. But if someone's successful doing something, if you can run GM, you can run, Google. You're good at running stuff. I mean, they're different things, but you're successful. This is no different than running, the 49ers and running the Badger football team.
Great example. I was reading a basketball book, but it was connecting to volleyball. This volleyball coach from UNC Irving, before every practice, he has the whole practice plan laid out on a whiteboard, and he explains every drill to the players and its expectations. I'm like, you got to learn from all the greats, dude, what sport it is. Like you're not
going to take everything from all the greats.
No, you're not.
You're going to take,
it's got to fit you.
That would not work for me. What he just listed there would not work for me, because I will have a practice plan that's 3 hours long, and I know I got an hour and a half. So I will have plenty of stuff, but I'm going, ooh, this isn't going well. Or, ooh, I don't have their attention. We got to do some more offense. Or, ooh, we got to do this. So me spelling it out for them would not work for me, would not work for them. But I know myself. I've coached long enough. I know myself that that's just not going to be successful for me or our program. But that's why the more you learn and the more you find those mentors out there and those people that know the game, the better off you're going to be. So,
because the better you become, your culture becomes better, because you develop your identity as a coach. And then ultimately everybody around you that's part of your program will be that way as well.
It will be. All right, Coach. Talk to you next week.
Thanks.
Yep. Bye.
Hey, Coach, hope you liked that video. If you're looking for more videos just like that, check out teachhoops.com up above or down below in the show notes. I do not think you'll be disappointed. One-on-one calls, office hours, you name it, it's there for you. Learn from me. Let me help you become a better coach.